Hi everyone, and welcome back to the second video of the day. This one is actually on a topic, a series of little topics, so I hope you enjoy it. I wanted to kick off with Amazon and Hitler. Yes, really. Did you see this story? Amazon had introduced a new logo, which you can see on the left-hand side of the screen here. But after some wokies on social media decided it looked a bit like Hitler, they've changed it. And you can see the smaller icon on the right-hand side. That's the new icon. If you've got Amazon on your phone, just go and look and you'll see the new logo. Now, I have to say, in all honesty, looking at the logo on the left-hand side, to suggest that in any way there's any connection with Hitler is unbelievable. But this is the kind of woke society we live in, folks, where somebody somewhere gets annoyed about this and a few of their pals jump on and hey presto, this huge corporation, Amazon, rolls over and goes along with the insanity. Absolutely mad stuff. And talking of mad stuff, did you see in Scotland, at a time when other places around the UK are hoping to at least reduce the restrictions and lessen the impositions on our freedom, Scotland's going to tighten them. That's right. New rules are being set to make it harder for areas to drop down to lower tiers. So basically, the Scottish government's big plan is to return to the tiers level at the end of April. So in 2 months' time, they're thinking of going back into the tier system, but then to have much tighter restrictions on what constitutes sufficient conformance to criteria to drop from a tier 5 to a tier 4 to a tier 3. And essentially, Scotland seems to be wanting to follow the likes of Australia and New Zealand, and indeed Ireland potentially, to a zero COVID strategy. Now, that's impossible. It won't happen, but that's what they want. And again, we live in Clownworld, where it's all about people set things that are completely disconnected from that which is real. And talking of things which aren't real, we have the UK budget happening tomorrow. I wanted to show you this just to put things in context. So when you see the Chancellor offering, £500 million to the creative arts industry and billions to this sector and that sector, have a look at what happened to the British economy in 2020. And as you can see, out of the major players, it was clearly one of the worst performing. In fact, the worst performing, with an 11.2 contraction on economic growth. So one of the reasons, by the way, Chancellor Rishi, that the British economy retracted so much is because of the impositions you put on it. It's because you and your government closed down huge chunks of the British economy, and you've still kept them closed. So you're responsible directly for this contraction in British economic growth. And now you've got a budget to attend to, and I don't know how you're going to attend to it because the economy's tanking, clearly. And if you increase taxation, then it'll crank even harder. And I have no idea where you're going to go with it tomorrow. But I will be back on another stream to discuss this tomorrow night. A couple of little COVID type stories to talk about. Yes. Good news, vaccinated Brits could be allowed to jump Greek border checks ahead of holidaymakers taking airport COVID tests this summer. Saw one of these look, there's a happy lady, look at her. She's dancing through the streets of a little Greek village. Everything's lovely, white and blue, the traditional Greek architecture, and she's happy. She doesn't have a mask on. There's no there's nobody around actually, for that matter. This is a fantasy you're being sold, by the way. Here's closer to reality. Freedom bracelets. Israel, which has become increasingly dystopian, has now rolled out what's called a freedom bracelet, a tracking device that will serve as an alternative to a 2-week quarantine for anyone entering the country from abroad. So you enter Israel from abroad, and you basically get a tracker device put on you for the time that you're there. So essentially, you're being treated as some form of a prisoner. That's nice, isn't it? And look, they've got their little masks on as well as their freedom bracelets. They look so free to me. And then, of course, Matt Hancock. We can't go through one of these without mentioning our beloved health secretary. He's telling us that freedom is on the horizon and all adults will be jabbed. Lovely little word, jabbed. Just a little jab by July as vaccines are ramped up this month. So he's suggesting that, everyone's going to get jabbed. I'll tell you what, Matt, I wonder how that works with a significant percentage of the population who doesn't want to be jabbed. How's that going to work out, Matt? And I wonder also, Mr. Health Secretary, just how accurate are your figures regarding the numbers of people who have been jabbed? And furthermore, Matt, when we're at it, how does this sort of euphoria about jabbing the entire British population, how does that relate then to when we look at other awkward facts like, the Brazil COVID variant could reinfect 60% of people who have already had the disease, says a professor in Brazil. And of course, the British media instantly jump on it. So what this is suggesting is that if this new virus, this variant, has any foothold whatsoever in the UK, it's going to make the vaccines that everyone's taken kind of irrelevant. So they're going to have to go and get another vaccine. And what happens if the Brazilian variant arrives in Europe? Do you think that might impact all the lovely little images that you're being sold? At the end of the day, folks, it's like this. We live in Clownworld.